Welcome to the analysis of A Helpmeet for Him by Christina Rossetti. So there's lots of context that you need to know for this poem. Firstly, thinking about the ideology of the gendered spheres in Victorian England, the difference between the domestic spheres and the industrial spheres. So women were considered to have been primarily associated with the domestic spheres, so staying at home, that kind of thing, and men were associated with the industrial spheres, so going to work. And Rossetti believed in these spheres as she aged. Rossetti herself said, "Society may be personified as human. The right hand is man, the left hand is woman, in one sense equal, in another sense unequal." And she said that women are better at carrying than execution. So you could analyse those quotes themselves and have a lot to say about them. It could either be suggestive of the fact that men and women have very clear roles and they should stick to those roles, or actually what she might be saying is that a woman's role is as important as a man's role. However, she is definitely saying that there is a separation between the two genders. So it's no surprise for you to hear that she was a traditionalist. However, she signed an anti-suffrage petition, but wrote a letter arguing for female MPs. So again, we continue to have this dichotomy with Rossetti between being feminist and being anti-feminist, and she doesn't ever seem to draw a line in the sand either way. Aspects of her believe in feminism and suffrage, and then other parts of her are very anti-suffrage and think that women should adhere to societal norms. And this poem was a response to the editor of an Anglican magazine's request to speak out against suffrage. So that's the context of this particular poem. So the title itself is interesting because it's called A Helpmeet for Him, and it's taken from Genesis, where the quote is, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a suitable helper." So this comes from the story of Adam and Eve, where Eve was made from one of Adam's ribs. So the idea that women came secondary to men because they were made specifically for men to have a companion. So that's kind of from the very beginning of time, if you believe in the Christian faith, that's why women were designed. Helpmeet is an archaic word and it just means a helpful companion. So again, we've got this repetition or this emphasis of a woman's purpose. And there's an absence of females from the title, so it's very much male dominated and serving of men. So in the first stanza, we've got the repetition of the preposition for from the title, which again suggests a possessiveness over women and the roles that they have and the way that they are meant to work, that they were made for a purpose, and that purpose was to serve men. However, it's unclear who the narrator is in this poem. Is it Rossetti? Is it an imagined narrator? We don't really know. She says, "Charm, O woman." And is that her saying it? Is that a satirical male voice saying it? Is she trying to say that women shouldn't be charmed, or is that the way that men speak to women? It's unclear, and that's quite an ambiguous part of this poem. The subservience again is promoted. So the idea of women being made for man's delight, and that has connotations of sexuality and the idea that women were made specifically to make sure that men were satisfied. And then she says, "Be not afraid." And this could be reassurance. It could be a repetition or an emphasis of God's commands through the exclamative, that you have a destiny, you have a purpose, and don't worry because that's what you're meant to be doing. Don't try and change that. And then we've got this interesting metaphor that women should be a man's shadow by day. And I guess the idea of her being a shadow suggests that she is constantly available, always at his side, but also lesser because the shadow of someone is someone who isn't quite complete. It's just a reflection of somebody else, just an imprint of somebody else. So perhaps the suggestion is that women don't have a full persona. Or it could suggest that it's really important because everybody has a shadow, and when you think of links to sort of Peter Pan, that kind of thing, how important a shadow is, and obviously with the Gothic tradition as well, vampires didn't have shadows, so shadows took on quite a significant cultural message in the Victorian period. However, alongside being a shadow, a woman is also expected to be a moon. So this antithesis between shadow and moon really summarises the difficulty of the position that women have, that they almost need to be everything to a man, and that's really difficult, a really difficult space to fill. And the refrain reminds us of the focus of the poem, so why women were made. So the first stanza suggests the traditional gender roles that are meant to be adhered to, and there's a regular rhyme scheme which I think accentuates the normality of these roles and the suggestion that they shouldn't be tampered with in any way.